Hello, everyone. Shannon Gardner here. Today, I am having a chat with Ian Robinson. Hi, Ian. He
Oh,
is a Reiki master, and he's going to talk to us about that. So, if you could just tell us where people can find you, Ian, and a little bit about yourself, that would be wonderful.
yeah. So, as you said, my name's Ian Robinson. I'm based in the UK. I've been a Reiki Master teacher since October last year. And yeah, it's been quite an interesting journey over the last few years of learning Reiki. But you can find me, most of my handles are Reiki Zen or Reiki Zen underscore Ian. Um, I think it's just the Instagram. My Instagram is Reiki Zen underscore Ian, but I'm on TikTok, YouTube. My YouTube channel is called Ian Robinson Reiki Zen. I've just changed the name because Reiki Zen was actually undiscoverable because there's that much about Reiki and there's that much about Zen that I was obsolete. So I've changed the name on there to make myself more findable. And then I've got the Facebook page for the business, which is Reiki Zen. And yeah, so we'll probably stick links below in the videos and descriptions of where we can find each other. But yeah, so that's me. And yeah, I think that's
Great.
it.
That's good. Yes, we'll put where everyone can find you in the description of the video. So I have written down a bunch of questions that I want to ask you. I'm going to have my first reggae session ever with Ian next week. So that's exciting. And so I kind of just decided to ask some questions that for someone who doesn't, I know a little bit about Reiki, but I would love to know more myself. And as someone who hasn't had a session yet, so I tried to base some of my questions around that and just about your journey as well. So I guess my first question would be like, what is Reiki? What does the word mean? Where does it originate from? What culture does it originate? And that sort of thing. So if you could give some answers to that for everyone,
Yeah.
just to give a little background of what it is.
So what is I'll probably cover what is real. I've got I know I've got your questions here, so I've written them down as well, just so I know what I'm
That's good.
answering again, just to remind me on. But
Yeah.
what is Reiki? I mean, what does the word Reiki mean to start with? We'll start with that one. Reiki is kind of made up of two small words. So there's Rei, R-E-I, pronounced Rei, and then Ki, pronounced Ki. So it's Reiki, and Rei means I suppose universal energy, source energy, God energy, spirit energy, whatever your definition of it is, that is kind of like what it is. And this spiritual universal energy is kind of, it's all around us all the time. And it's just a case of connecting and tuning into it and tapping into it and being able to use it. And the key is basically your life force energy. So everything and everyone has this life force energy, which in various cultures. In China, it's chi. In Japan, it's ki. So obviously, it's originated in Japan, as in Reiki. In prana, in India, sorry, it's prana. So we all have these different definitions of this sort of life force energy that we all have within us, and it's within everything organic, really. It's in all life, plants, animals, us. The earth in itself has an energy within itself as well, and science is starting to discover a lot more about this energy that we all have within us, and this kind of spiritual scientific connection is starting to sort of crisscross, and a lot of these dots are starting to meet. So yeah, whereas probably years ago, a lot of people would probably just say, "Oh, it's just that silly stuff that people do." Now it's becoming a lot more well known, and a lot more credited, really, because it's being used in hospitals and hospices and stuff to help people around the world. So yeah, so what is Reiki? Like I say, the name of what the name indicates, it's this life force energy, and it's a spiritually guided um, way of assisting your energy within you. So when you become attuned to Reiki through the attunement processes, what you can do is you can actually channel this energy from the universe. And what happens is it enters through your crown chakra, goes through your crown chakras into your third eye, to your throat, to your heart, and then it comes from your heart, which is kind of like your love center, and it moves out down your hands and then through the palms of your hands, through the palm chakras, and that is where you give the healing from the hands and the palm chakras, and it's administered through various ways, really. You can either have a hands-off approach where you stand near a client, so your hands are slightly raised off their body, or you can have a hands-on approach where you put your hands directly onto the contact of the skin, around the head. Usually, well, all the time, if your client is female, then you'll keep your hands away, so you're not making contact with sensitive areas of the body. So you'll have your hands a few inches away from the body, but then some people question, well, how does the Reiki then work? But you're already in that person's auric field, so their auric field, it will go out for a few feet, depending on how strong energetically they are. So it will still be received, the energy will still be received by them through the energy field. So yeah, that's kind of like what it is, and it helps you relax. So and then the more it helps you relax, it helps your body's ability to heal, but also to resolve issues on a holistic level. So it will go to like the root cause of an issue. So a lot of people that might think, oh, I've got a bad back, or I've got something wrong with my feet, and it's just this pain because they've got this physical thing going on. Or in actual fact, it could be a much deeper energetic thing, or it could be an emotional or a mental thing that is going on. And your subconscious understands and receives the energy and sends it to where it's needed, for your healing, needs at that time. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people, like I say, that they can think of having a bad back and having this physical thing wrong with them, but in actual fact, usually with people with bad backs, it's because they're carrying a lot of stress and they're carrying a lot of worry, and a lot of that sort of lower energy can gather in the lower regions of the body, in the back, in the stomach, and that tends to be where we hold and carry a lot of negative energy. So the Reiki helps to alleviate that and remove it. Where did it originate and who created it? Well, it's kind of it's always been around, but it's obviously originated in Japan by the name Reiki, and it was rediscovered by a Buddhist monk named Mikao Usui, in Japan, and he was on a bit of a mission, to try and find a way of healing himself and healing others, and he decided to go on kind of a bit of a quest and discover how people healed themselves like centuries ago, and then came into contact with knowing about this energy, and trying to understand what this energy was. Anyway, he went on a fasting retreat to Mount Kuriyama, where he was reading through all these scriptures and information, and it was there where he sort of, I suppose, reached some sort of level of enlightenment, and he was shown these signs and symbols that have been passed down ever since to Reiki masters, and to level 2 practitioners, that they can use to kind of harness and energize the Reiki energy a little bit further, for the healing needs. And yeah, it was kind of a wonderful time when he kind of rediscovered all the stuff that's been hidden away, really, from us and from humanity. And then ever since then, he went on to teach other people, and then there was a naval officer, Dr. Hayashi, I think his name was, if I remember rightly, and he'd eventually opened a clinic, and then sadly Mikao Usui passed away, in I think it was 1925, 29, something like that. and Dr. Hayashi had opened this clinic, and then he taught other people, and attuned them to this energy. And one of the people that he taught was a lady called Mrs. Takata, and she was from Hawaii. And eventually, obviously, Dr. Hayashi, he passed away, so she was kind of like the remaining torch really for Reiki. And she then brought Reiki more to the West for people to know about it. And at that time, in 1980, there was only 22, I think it was 22 Reiki masters in the world. So it's still quite a relatively new practice. Um,
Wow.
Obviously now there's thousands around the world that are attuned to this energy to give this healing. So yeah, it's just kind of, it's snowballed and snowballed and become this huge movement. And now there's so many different forms of Reiki. I mean, the Reiki I use is the Asui method of healing. Um, but there's so many. I mean, there's Jikiden Reiki, which is meant to be more based on the traditional style of Mikao Usui's Reiki. There's Karuna Reiki, there's Angelic Reiki, there's Crystal Reiki. There's so much more different types of Reiki now, as it's kind of evolved really, and become
Yeah.
this more fluid, organic thing. So yeah, it's quite beautiful.
That's amazing. I didn't realize that it was only in 1980 that it sort of blew up and
Mm,
became really popular in the Western world.
yeah,
So that's really
absolutely.
neat. Yeah, that's awesome. That was a really good explanation for myself and for others. Yeah, it's really good. Um, so in your chat with Kaz and I the other day, you were telling us actually in your chat that the video that you did the other day about your own journey, and when you were in a little bit of a funk yourself in life, as all of us have been probably at some point in our life with different things going on in our lives. And you mentioned that when you found Reiki, that's what really helped you to get out of your funk and that sort of thing. And I would love to hear more about that if you want to share that with us of
Yeah, absolutely.
discovering it and how it helped you with your situation.
Yeah, I mean, people that follow my channel will probably be aware of my story, but I will cover it again. But yeah, I went through a period of quite a bit of mental health issues, depression, anxiety, panic attacks, skin issues, rashes, strange stuff going on in my body. And anyway, it got to a point where I was kind of like had enough of taking the medication and wanted to find a more I suppose, a holistic approach to try and heal myself and help myself. And they always say that you meet people at the right time, and it's so true. And I had a phone call from it was actually a friend of my brother's, and we became quite good friends. And he'd asked me about meditation. He said, "Have you ever tried meditation to assist with your mental health?" And it was something that I was like, I would never have thought of myself as someone that would do that. But we give it a go and we tried it, and just short meditations, 5 minutes, something like that. And over time kind of built it up. And I must say that the meditation had such a profound effect on kind of my clarity of mind of what was going on with me at that time, the situation I was in within life. And I always describe where I was and how I was feeling as kind of like the an evolutionary stage of kind of my spiritual awakening. And then it was some years later after the meditation. The meditation made me realize that the place I was working was such a toxic environment, that it was that energy that was really bringing me down and making me feel like this quite a bit. So anyway, I changed jobs. I went to work in a coffee shop, and when there was one night I was finishing work and we were cleaning up and sweeping the floor and what have you, and I noticed these leaflets on the fireplace in the coffee shop, and it was about Reiki, and something just went ping, like in the back of my mind, and like I didn't know what it was, but it was almost like a light bulb moment, and I was just like, hmm, that's interesting. So I read a little bit about it in these leaflets, and then the chap that was on the front, who's now my Reiki master, was there, so I could see who it was, see what was going on and what have you, and read all this information about Reiki, about how it can help, and the various things in life that it can help with. And I thought, "Oh, that might be something I need to try." And anyway, then I'd found out that he came in pretty much every day into the coffee shop. So I got to actually
Oh,
meet
cool.
him and got to chat to him. And it was at the end of one of my shifts, halfway through the day. I said, "Oh, do you mind if I come and have a sit down with you and have a chat, and just to talk about Reiki?" He was like, "Yeah, sure." So we sat and chatted for, I don't know, half an hour. I can't remember how long it was. And he said, I think the best thing for you to do is just to give it a go, and then give it a try and see what you think. Because his first session, if you've never had a session with him before, was free. So I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. So I went for a session of Reiki, and felt absolutely amazing afterwards. And I can't explain why, or what had happened, but I just felt lighter. I felt even more clarity of mind of my situation and where I was. And I felt energized. I felt like there was something going on within me that was building my energy back up, and it was getting rid of all this heavy energy that I'd experienced for so long. So anyway, I'd booked a few more sessions with him, and then I'd found out that he taught it. And I thought, well, how on earth can you teach something like this? And then he explained the whole process. I met him in the coffee shop again after work, and we chatted about that. And he said, "Oh yeah," he said, "Well, actually, so I've got some courses coming up shortly if you're interested." And before you know it, I was on his level one course. Did the level one, and it was over like 2 days over a weekend. Um, and it was just like absolutely amazing. So you get to the point where, as soon as you become attuned to it, you're able to give what's known as self-healing. So you can self-heal yourself, and you go through what's known as a 21-day cleanse period as well. So when you become attuned to the Reiki, what's happening is it's working with your mind, body, and spirit, and it's getting rid of everything that you don't need. So you try to drink lots of water to remove all the toxins. The Reiki will flush stuff out of you that you don't need, and it's raising your vibration. So all this stuff that you're getting rid of, it helps to lift your vibration. And that was kind of like the start of my journey. And yeah, it was. I really can't explain how it did or what it did. I just knew that something was different, and I felt loads better. And then I started combining my Reiki sessions, my self-healing sessions, along with meditation. And I was like, wow, this is just like absolutely
Yeah,
really incredible, profound.
that would be, yeah, combining the two. So this cleansing that you're talking about, is this something that, say, for myself as a client, I could come to you and say, I want to do this 21-day cleanse, this Reiki cleanse with you, and then you could guide someone through doing that over a 21-day period? Or is this like, how would one be able to do that?
Right. Yeah. So the 21-day cleansing period is once you've been attuned to the Reiki, to the Reiki energy through like an initiation with your Reiki master. Because what
Okay.
is happening is, if you think of your mind, body, and spirit as kind of like a hard drive, and when you kind of like defrag a hard drive, and it sorts everything out and puts everything into the right components and gets rid of what you don't need. That's kind of like what the 21 cleansing period is doing, and that's what's always happening whenever you heal, whenever you self-heal, or whenever you give healing to somebody else. It's having this sort of sorting out process within you. And it's like I said, it's your subconscious that recognizes the energy. Subconscious, higher self. You can put it into various spiritual terms, and go as spiritual as you want with it. Your spirit guides recognize it, and they can give it to you. You can use archangel energy, and they can give it to you as well, depending on what level of Reiki that you want to use. um, and and so once you've become attuned to that Reiki energy, which is different to a client session. It's totally different to a client session. A client is where you will receive the Reiki, but when you're becoming attuned to the Reiki, you're actually becoming a vessel. You're becoming a channel for the Reiki to flow through you. But when you become a client, you are receiving the energy, but you've already got the energy within you as well, probably at a much more diluted level, because
Okay.
it's coming kind of from source. So when you are receiving the energy, what's happening is it's kind of like, if you think of, I don't know, if you think of like an orange concentrate, and when you add water to it, it dilutes it. Well, when you're giving the Reiki, you're kind of putting a bit more orange in there to thicken that energy up and to give it a bit more power. And what it'll do is it works with your energy body. So in Japan, they teach basically only three chakras. So they teach the third eye, the heart, and what they know as the hara, or the sacral chakra, and that's the only three chakras that they really work with. In Japan, it's very much more intuitively driven and spiritually driven. So in the West, when it was brought to the West, it was more given to us in chakras. So we work through the chakra system, the seven chakras, and it's kind of like more of a guide. But when you become more used to using the Reiki and connecting to your clients, and whether it's distance or contact, you do work from more an intuitive, spiritually guided angle, rather than just following the seven chakras. But that's perfectly fine as well. That there's no right or wrong way.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I understand now. Yeah, I didn't know whether the cleanse was like, I completely understand now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah,
It's a powerful process when you do go through it, because they do
it
say
would
try
be. Yeah.
not to eat too much meat, or and try and have lots of fruit, veg, healthy foods. So whenever I've gone through like a 21 cleansing process, I've tried to reduce a lot of processed food, a lot of that sort of rubbish. Try to drink plenty of water, and I still try to. And I have found with each time I've been attuned to the Reiki that I have lost a little bit of weight, because obviously I'm eating better and I'm drinking more water, and it's flushing the toxins out of my body. So it is interesting. It is powerful.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, yeah, very powerful.
That's a really good point to eat plants and that while you're doing that as well. Because, yeah, exactly. If you're trying to get rid of these toxins, then
Yeah,
you don't want to be putting more toxins
yeah,
into your
yeah,
body, do you?
yeah. Defeat
Yeah.
the object.
Yeah, it's going to help the process. Okay, so for those who are interested in learning Reiki themselves, are you planning, do you teach people yourself, or are you planning in the future to be able to teach others
Yeah,
how to do the modality?
it's something that is in the pipeline currently within the business. Obviously, I was attuned to Reiki Master Teacher, but with the guidelines from the UK Reiki Fed, there's various Reiki associations around the world, and they will all have different guidelines, I suppose, and what have you. But from the UK Reiki Federation standpoint, then there should really be around about 9 to 12 months between your Reiki 2 and Reiki 3. And then there should be around about 9 to 12 months again before you start attuning people to Reiki as well, because there is such a huge energetic shift between the attunements, and you really do feel it. You really do go through the processes, and sometimes you'll feel really on a high, sometimes you'll feel quite low, sometimes you might, my Reiki 1 attunement was probably the most profound, where I came into contact with spirit guides, and felt their energy around me, and made connections, and saw things, and things really started to open up on a very deep spiritual level. And when I got to level 2, it just like kind of like, right, we're off now, that's it, we're just going. And the clairvoyance started kicking in, and now I'm Reiki 3. It's just kind of like everything else is starting to fire up. And there are some people that teach Reiki online. I only do one-to-one attunement, so it's in-person attunements. So it's so you would have to come to me to learn the Reiki. And again, that's kind of, in the UK, a lot of the insurance companies don't recognize online attunements. And I think it's just because in the past I have known people that have been attuned online, and it's had like strange effects on them, and usually a lot of the time, because I do know some of them teach kind of like all three levels over a weekend. And you're just like, wow, that is just like it's just too much energy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's too much energy for the physical body to comprehend and to deal with. So that's why you need to kind of like space this energy out to allow, because I mean, energy can upgrade so fast, but your physical body, it takes a long, long time. And if your body's trying to release stuff that you don't need, it can't release it fast enough. So that's why you need these spaces between attunements to just to give you a chance. I mean, all this stuff that was happening to me with seeing visions and meeting spirit guides and having all these quite intense encounters. If that had happened and I'd been attuned to all three over a weekend, I probably think I was going nuts or going mad, because it's just like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, just overload. So that's why we try to teach the right way, really, and be respectful with it. And it's not, Reiki is a journey. It's not like something that will just happen overnight. It's not a quick fix. It is a
Absolutely.
journey, and that's
Exactly.
part of the Eastern philosophy. I mean, in Japan, to be trained and attuned to Reiki one, it could take years. Obviously, in the West now, we say, you can have your Reiki one, then after 4 to 6 months, you can do your Reiki two, then after 9 months to a year, you can do your Reiki three. And again, I talk about Reiki three, but it depends on the Reiki master. So some Reiki masters will split Reiki master and teacher into two separate courses. I teach Reiki master and teacher together. Again, there's no right or wrong. It's totally dependent on the Reiki master, and it's just about respecting the energy, and being respectful of the process. And so some people, I mean, my Reiki master got attuned to Reiki one, and it was years before he decided to do his level two, and then it was a
Yeah.
year later he did his level three. So everyone's individual on their path and their process. Some people might want to go through it quite quick. I was quite keen, and I was quite quick to want to do that. But so I did my Reiki one. I waited I think it was about 5 months. Did my Reiki two, then waited about a year. I managed to do my Reiki two just before COVID hit as well. So that was really, really,
That's good.
really beneficial, because then that would have like
Yeah.
right back years. And then yeah, and then Reiki three was October last year. So we're coming up to nearly a year already, and I'm just getting to the point where I'm thinking, yeah, it's about time I started doing this now, and attuning people to this energy, because it's a beautiful modality to work with, and the more you do it, the more you work with it, um, kind of the more you recognize it, the more efficient, I suppose, you get at it, and being able to recognize things within your healing practice.
Yeah. We learn about this life force that you're talking about as well in naturopathy. So that's comes up a lot in my naturopathy degree as well. So when you were saying about it now being used in hospitals and the science behind it and being more well known,
Mm,
it's in, the course I'm doing is a science degree. And um, we learn so much about life force and chi and all that as well.
yeah,
So that's really good.
yeah,
Yeah. It sounds really beautiful. And I can understand why you would want to wait
yeah,
and allow yourself to have that journey, like you said, because everyone is going at their own pace. And even with doing naturopathy, I'm going at my own pace with that and taking in the information. And then everyone has their personal lives and everything going on in your personal life as well. And everyone will be on a different timeline of how long it takes them to go through the journey, like you said. So I think that's really good that you don't rush people. And you're right, it sounds pretty crazy to be able to do it in 3 days seems
mm,
very rushed. And like you said, if you were going through contacting with your spirit guides and seeing different things that absolutely wouldn't want to rush that. I know that um, when I was having my awakening journey and doing things like getting a water distiller, and then I tried monatomic gold, um, or ormus, whatever you want to call it, things like that. And they say to be careful with that because it can open up a different world with seeing different entities and or you know uh, spirits and different things as well. And absolutely, it's a journey. And isn't it amazing though, like how we go through these things in life? Like you went and you worked at this cafe. You knew you meditated and got those answer within yourself that you needed to leave your job and that it was a big thing in your life that was affecting you.
Mm.
And then it led you to working at the cafe. And then you got into Reiki by working at that cafe. And I worked jobs in the past too, like even when I was younger, when I took beauty therapy, I thought, what is the point of this? Like that, I worked the beauty therapy for ages, doing massaging clients, and I thought, what is what is the point? Like I felt like I was doing a job that had no meaning almost to it. And then, but now, um, getting into naturopathy and hypnosis and all these things, now I see why I took beauty therapy, because it has so much relevance now to what I'm doing now as well. And at the time, I thought, where this isn't going to take me anywhere. Like, why did I even take this course? Why did I get into this? And
The-
it has such a significance now with essential oils and different things. Massage is actually where I first learned about energy healing, because I worked in a day spa, and the owner of the day spa, when she was training us one day, she told us about how our energy is being transferred to the client. And oftentimes, when you are giving someone a massage afterwards, you can feel really drained, and that can be because of the client's energy, transferring to you, and then your energy is transferring to the client. And I didn't realize that until, I mean, I was quite young at the time anyway, but that's where I first sort of clicked for me, was um, massaging clients at day spas. And
yeah,
you mentioned about maybe getting into massage, and Reiki sounds like it would be amazing with massage,
yeah.
both massage and hypnosis as well. Like both the modalities would be amazing with it.
It's such a versatile form of healing that you can just add it to like pretty much anything. I mean, I know Reiki masters that also do reflexology and do Reiki
Mm.
through reflexology. I know Reiki masters that do also do massage or Indian head massage, and they use
Oh
Reiki
yeah,
and practices as well. So it's something, because of the touch. It's something that can just, it can just happen, and it's all about this intention. So and Reiki is love, and this intention to just give this healing energy to somebody. And like you say about, when you were massaging people or whatever, and you felt maybe tired or drained after it, because they can unknowingly, people are kind of like drains and receivers, and they can sap your energy. Whereas with the
exactly.
you're not giving away, it's not your energy, it's like it's channel
Uh,
energy. So you don't feel, in actual fact, you also receive healing at the same time when you're giving the energy, because it's flowing through you. So what
True.
sometimes happen is, if what they do say is, if you're a Reiki practitioner or a healer or whatever, and whatever your modality, if you're not feeling fit and if you're not feeling well, then don't give a healing session, because what's going to happen is you will
Absolutely.
receive more of the energy than your client.
Yeah,
So you're going to get more healing and more benefit than what they are, basically. But I mean, usually after most sessions, I feel kind of like up there again. I feel wired. I feel high. It's usually the only time really is kind of if I try and, I suppose, tune into the other person's energy to see what's going on, see what I feel, even on like distance work. I can sometimes pick up on their emotions and what they're feeling and what's going on in life, and sometimes that can be quite tiring in itself. But then once I've disconnected from that and just severed that connection, then I'm fine again. But it's quite it's an interesting journey, and seeing myself develop as well as other Reiki practitioners around the world, and that I'm in contact with, and seeing how they're doing, how they're getting on as well. It's a lovely journey. It's a great community as well.
I think that's really amazing, like, and a really good point about the energy coming from above and through you to the client, because how beneficial would that be even for so many massage therapists out there who are doing massage therapy to be able to incorporate Reiki
Yeah,
into
yeah.
massage.
There's no drift.
Yeah, that's really good. And
Yeah,
yeah, in Chinese medicine, we touch upon that a little bit in naturopathy as well, and acupuncture, and those are another one that where we hear a lot about life force and chi as well. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah, wonderful. It sounds like a really universal modality that can be used
Mm,
alongside with so many things. It's
yeah.
really beautiful. Sounds really gorgeous, and I'm excited to have a session next week.
I do too.
One of yeah. So some of your videos that I absolutely love on your channel are your crystal videos. I think they're really informative. And even for someone who knows a lot about crystals, I think they're really informative for someone who already knows a lot about crystals as well, because you just know so much about them. It's amazing. And I've noticed in your videos that you use crystals for your Reiki sessions as well. Do you use them for all of your sessions or just some of your sessions? And what kind of crystals do you use? And how do you decide which crystals to use for each chakras and that sort of thing? So can you elaborate on that a little bit
Uh,
for us?
I mean, crystals are a wonderful addition to Reiki. Again, like I say, Reiki being such a fluid modality that you can incorporate with so many things, but adding crystals into the sessions, what I've found is the almost like harness and focus and energy to the person's power points or chakras, whatever you term them to be. And I mean, I have like crystals here that I keep in a selenite bowl, and these are all the crystals that I tend to use through Reiki sessions. And um, the majority of people will probably, and I do as well, most of the time, will use crystals that are correspondent to the color of the chakra. Um, but I also feel sometimes that, if someone's got like a really out of sorts root chakra, if they're really struggling to ground their energy, or really struggling to be present within themselves, and be secure within themselves on this earthly life, then sometimes I'll need to add something a little bit more clout, I suppose, or a bit more, just to cleanse anything away that might be on there. So sometimes I'll use something like a tektite for the root chakra, because that's really good for blasting away and get rid of any negative energy. Or I might also use an onyx, which again is really good for purification and for grounding and get rid of negative energy. But then normally what I would use would be something like a red jasper for the root chakra, just for grounding, to go into that energy. Um, but again, it is quite an intuitive process with that as well. I won't always just use them. There will be sometimes where I'll think, no, I'm drawn to use that one over there for some reason, so I'll use that instead and bring that into it. So I mean, the ones in the bowl, predominantly the ones that I just use for Reiki. The ones over here are the ones that I use like for myself, but I will incorporate them in sometimes into sessions. Um, Basically, if I feel intuitively drawn to use them for the session, for that person. But I mean, again, there's no kind of right or wrong way. I mean, things like people with the third eye or the crown chakra or the heart chakra, if they've had a lot of grief or a lot of loss, or and they're feeling heartbroken, something going on there. Sometimes again with that, you need something to alleviate that grief and just try to not remove it, but just try to gently unfold it. So it's not, because if you remove something very fast, it's going to have quite a detrimental effect on their emotions and their balance in life. So if you can just gently incorporate something to get away of anything that is creating that stress within the heart. So you can, I mean, amethyst's really good for an energy protector and removal of negative energy as well. But it's really good for grief. It's really good for loss. It's really good for calming. Rose quartz as well to incorporate more love into your life and help that heart healing chakra as well. So yeah, I mean, there's so many different types of crystals now, and it's kind of crazy how crystals have just like gone, have just skyrocketed, and everyone wants a crystal of,
Yes,
of some description, but they are really really good and really powerful.
absolutely. And so then when you decide what crystals to use, so beforehand, so if someone's booking an appointment with you, um, do you have sort of a consultation with the client first to see what they want to get out of it, or how does that work? Or you just, how do you know what the client is there for, like what they want to heal? Do you have a consultation first, or how does
I
that
do
work?
have a I do have a consultation form. To be honest
Yeah.
with you, the distance work, I use the consultation forms for contact Reiki. For distance work, I let the Reiki do the work itself really, and then I will kind of, sometimes I'll intuitively feel what's going on and what they need the healing for. I will also use a dowse, like a pendulum.
Oh, yeah.
I will dowse the energy of the person's body to see what's going on with the various chakras which require the healing. And then I'll try to intuitively tune into what's going on with them with regards to that energy in their life, and why they need the healing for that. And you know, I'll ask for some sort of guidance or assistance with that if needed. Um, and then I'll incorporate the crystals into the session. But yeah, I mean, I do have a consultation form if people feel the need to have one, but I usually use them for mainly for contact sessions, for a
Okay.
one-to-one, just for, it's more for I suppose safety as well, not just for them but also for me, for insurance purposes. If anything happens, it's also for them. They'll have like an emergency contact number if I need to get in touch with someone, if I don't know if they've fallen or anything like that, that then I've got that there for them. But when they're receiving distance work, Reiki, usually, well, I try to ask them, you know, to find themselves, however long the session might be, whatever they choose. For distance work, I have half an hour or an hour, and you know, I just ask them to find somewhere quiet, somewhere relaxed, where they can just be for half an hour to an hour, however long it might be, and just let the Reiki do its thing. And then it's afterwards that I'll send the client, I'll do like a, you've probably seen them do like a time lapse video, send them a time lapse video of the session, so they can see that I'm not just watching TV or whatever, or just saying,
Oh,
oh, there
yeah.
you go, yeah. And then I'll then go through what I've kind of like felt or found, or any heat that I might have picked up on, or any cool spots. I'll give them information from that, what any intuitive information that they might need to receive moving forward. And I also give like an oracle card reading as well, just to give them a little bit of guidance from that side of things as well. It's just an added extra. Plus, if there's anything that I feel that they might need to work on outside of the Reiki session, then I'll give them advice of what they can do. So, you know, if they are struggling with grounding, I'll just say, look, you really need to ground. I would get out into nature, take your shoes off, go and walk on grass, go and walk on some sand, and just to feel yourself align with the energy of the earth. And if they don't know how to do that, I'll just kind of explain it to them, the process, or give them like a grounding meditation or anything like that, just to incorporate that, because I do feel it as as great as Reiki is, and it can help you to see things and help you discover things for healing and your own healing journey, it's also about your own discipline as well after that. It's about um, coming away from that healing session and saying, you know what, I feel really, really good. I want to continue this now, and this is what I want to do. I'm going to set up Reiki sessions, I don't know, once a week, once a fortnight, once a month, however long it might be. You'll eventually find an equilibrium that's right for you of how it works. But then between sessions, you'll probably the Reiki again. You subconsciously you'll be thinking, oh, actually, you know what? I've really gone off eating that because it's not doing me any good, and it'll make you see different things in your life that you can change to make you feel better. And that's the other added extra to Reiki, is that it can make you realize some things in life aren't doing you any good. You might be, I don't know, there might be addictions, there might be smoking, there might be alcohol, there might be things like that involved that are really affecting your life. And the Reiki and your subconscious will work together and make you realize, not straight away, but eventually, actually, this isn't doing me any good. And after Reiki, I feel like, or after whatever healing practice that they've gone through, I feel absolutely amazing. But then I bring that back into my life and I feel absolutely crap. So I need to like work on that. And so yeah, there's so many different layers within these aspects of healing, of how we can like improve ourselves and improve our mind, body, and spirit.
Beautiful. Ian, you're so knowledgeable, and it's just been so awesome to listen to you talk about it. And I feel like I have a much better idea about Reiki now and understanding of it from asking you all these questions. So for the distance, when you say for the distant one, the client's going to find a quiet spot. So is it done over Zoom, or do you just say, okay, I'm going to do it at this time and then go over it afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, I do have two options. I do have Zoom sessions available on my website, but I also know that the active intention is the most powerful thing. So I mean, my intention to set the Reiki to send it to, if it might be you on Tuesday when I do your session, for I think it's 11 a.m. I think we're doing it for, so that active intention for me to channel a Reiki will then go to you. If you What I always say to the client as well is for them to set an intention, just to say, they might say it in the mind quietly, they can say it out loud if they want, and just say, I would like to accept this Reiki healing from me and for my highest will and good. And then they've set their intention to then be the recipient of the Reiki. They will still receive the Reiki anyway, regardless. And it will be channeled to them, and they might feel things, they might feel things going on around the body. They might feel heat spots, they might feel cool spots, they might feel a tingling, they might feel a vibration, they might feel a bit lighter. And sometimes people get quite emotional, or there might be a release of emotion where they get upset, or sometimes even people laugh, and just all these different things that get released through the healing process. Sometimes people feel absolutely nothing, and then but it's also just knowing that you've received the Reiki. The fact that you've not really felt anything is usually more to do with that there's a lot of underlying healing needs to be done. So it's going to those root causes and of the problems, and dealing with it on a deep level, so deep that you probably won't be able to feel it on a conscious level. And it's usually some sessions after, where you might start, oh, actually, oh, I felt this, or I saw this, or I had this vision, or whatever, and the things might start cropping up then. So yeah, and also it depends on how receptive the person is as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when you say about doing the intention of receiving it,
Mm,
that's a big thing with energy healing and for hypnosis and that as well, is
yes.
it's like getting the person's consent, and then the client giving you that consent in a way. And like you said, yes, you can still send healing to them regardless of whether they do that or not.
Mhm.
But it just allows them to be more open to receiving it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, is that right? Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's how I see it with other energy healing
No,
and
that's
hypnosis and other
totally
things
spot
as
on.
well.
Yeah,
So
and like you say, if the intention is there and they're more open to it, they're probably going to be more accepting of things and be more able to experience things. I think I think people feel if they don't feel anything, then they've lost out or it hasn't worked. That's not the case at all. It has worked. You haven't lost anything. It just depends. It depends exactly on you, your subconscious, and what needs to be healed within you. So there's nothing wrong with
absolutely.
not feeling. I don't always. I mean, when I do self healing, I never feel anything, never feel a thing. When I receive Reiki from someone else, I see all sorts. I see spirit guides. I see people. I sense all sorts of stuff going on around my body. But when I give Reiki to myself, very very few occasions where I've actually felt anything. But I just know and I just trust the process. And I know that after the Reiki, when I finished, I feel better. I feel lighter. I feel more in tune with myself. I feel my vibrations lifted. I feel happier. So yeah, it just shifts a lot of this, I suppose, fog sometimes if we feel a bit foggy.
Yeah, that's really good. Is there anything else that you wanted to add before we go today? And Ian, thank you so much for
Well,
doing this with me. I wanted to know more about it myself, and I love your channel, learning about it, and yeah, I just had some questions myself, and I just wanted on like my Wise Healer channel and on my website to be able to open up a healing center or a day spa with hydrotherapy and lots of different modalities. And so I just really want to share all the different healing modalities that are out there on my channel and just tell people about them because everyone's healing journey is so different,
mm,
and what one person um, what they like to use for themselves will be different to others. And I've learned a lot today. So thank you. And is there anything else you want to add?
um,
Shannon? You answered all my questions that I had. So it's wonderful.
yeah, I think that pretty much it covers it, But I think a lot of people, um, there are still a lot of people out there that are confused by it, that don't really understand it, and that's fine as well. Not everyone's going to get it, but I think the more people we have out there that are healers, regardless of their modality, the more knowledge we can put out there, and the more this will affect the collective consciousness of this awakening that the planet's going through, this energy alignment that we're all feeling, and a lot of people might question it and say, well, there's so much stuff going on in the world, well, that's all part of the awakening, that's part of the process, that's why it has to go through, and we have to purge and get rid of all this stuff. So yeah, but I mean, if anyone's interested in booking any Reiki, then head to my website. We can link that below in the descriptions box as well, and get in touch with me through there, and we can look to book you in at some point for a session. It's so I mean, like I touched on before, the distance sessions it's
That's
£20
perfect.
for half an hour and £35 for the hour. But there's also a discount on block booking as well. So
That's wonderful. That's awesome. Thank you, Ian, for joining me and allowing me
oh, thank you,
to
Shannon. It's
interview
been a pleasure
you and
to
ask you
chat again
questions.
and see you.
Yes, it is. And we'll have to have some more chats
Definitely,
soon
definitely.
too.
I think we've already thought of one topic to talk about.
Exactly. I've been wanting to do that topic for a while. So yeah, let's
Yeah,
do it
yeah.
for
It'll be
sure.
interesting to see where it goes. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. All righty. Sounds good. Thank you, Ian.
Welcome. Namaste. Have a beautiful, beautiful day.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.